Here we are, game 2, and with Kasva being the underdog here, it does feel like this is a must bounce back game for him. Sorry, just forgot I wanted to add this fancy little logo. There we go. Yeah, it feels like going down 2-0 would be tough. I think that's the same for anyone in these best of 5 deciders. You have to be to go down 2 games and then win 3 straight at this level, very difficult. So Kasva picked the Aztecs, civilization that he played with against Nili, I believe, and might have played... I think he also played Aztecs against FedEx. Yeah, so he felt very comfortable playing Aztecs in his group stage. I think he won both times with Aztecs, so he doesn't want to change the, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, as they say. He doesn't want to change his civilization up much. What's interesting, though, is that Dragonstar gets Lithuanians. And we had seen a lot of drafts where we would have Lithuanians and Aztecs both on the ban list if Graveyards was in the map pool. Now there's 5 maps, so more civilizations need to be picked, and it's still the same 2 bans per player. So I think there's going to be a few more stronger civilizations available. And also, if these best of 5s are going to 5 games, obviously we will just get to see more maps and get to see more civilizations in general, which is quite nice. So, Kasva, he hasn't gone out for the early lane, something I recall him doing in the past with his Eagle. And just scouting his map, hoping to find his resources right now. But personally, I think, it all comes down to how aggressive Dragonstar is. I remember a game from Dragonstar where he was Magyars, and he just had so much army in Feudal Age. He went scouts and had like 8 to 10 scouts. Now, granted, that was up against the Malay, so maybe a little bit different matchup-wise, but I have always felt like scout civilizations are superior on this map due to players being a bit further away and due to how open this map is. And I think the game plan for Dragonstar obviously gets some good engagements in Feudal. And then ideally, snag a couple relics, and then your knights are really strong. Aztecs get 33% more gold per relic. And then the Lithuanians get the +1 attack on their knights per relic. It does feel like the relics are a little bit closer to Kasva, too. This one's not far away. This one's very close. This one's very close. But actually, now that I look at it, I think Dragonstar is not going to have too much to complain about with the relic being beyond his wood line and then the relic over here. That's just how the map works. That is Graveyards. Besides it being very open and there being little golds and stones spread out throughout the map. So I think for a Scout Rush to really have some teeth to it, you have to have the timing right, and Lithuanians should be able to pull off 18 or 19 population scouts pretty easily. The Kasva, knowing the threat of those scouts, is going to wall. And he's walling up right now. He's going to pull this boar back to his TC. Deer is not cooperating, so he's just got to shoot it to wake it up. It just kind of resets it. You can, of course, shoot it just one time, and it still doesn't die. And then he just finishes it off there. Very well played from Kasva. So I think, there's arguments where you could say walling this much delays your barracks and delays your potential aggression. But honestly, it's so open that I think if you tried to open man-at-arms or anything, it would just make life complicated in defense. So it ain't pretty, but this is Kasva. Kasva plays low-risk Age of Empires, and sometimes players at the highest level are able to punish the walling, and other times they're not. Obviously, for Kasva, he was able to get 3rd place in his group. So there were some pretty strong openings he was up against, and he was able to still to get enough wins to be able to make it here. Interesting eco setup right now from Dragonstar. The fact he's got so much on wood is wild. I think he's going to pull these vills off this street and go back to the pig here in a second, but it's just interesting. Yeah, small walling is something that some players will opt to do. Like, this is crazy. We will not see a single player in Platinum try and wall like this. This is just Kasva things, dude. This is ridiculous. And honestly, like, it may not be punished by Dragonstar because Dragonstar hasn't scouted Kasva yet. Dragonstar tried to go double Lumber Camp, which is just uncommon for this quick of a build. So he might not even have the wood for the stable right away. Things are not exactly where he'd want them to be. And also, If he doesn't have his scout here, he won't be able to stop the walling. And honestly, like, Kasva's going to have 2 golds behind these walls. He knows his opponent's going scouts most likely. This is funny. It's going to affect the pathing of Dragonstar's scout. Dragonstar's going to click here, and his scout's going to go that way. Yeah. He's like, what? And now he sees the walls. This shouldn't come as a big surprise for Dragonstar, knowing Kasva. Yeah, I mean, Kasva's got his walls down. There he goes. He's safe. And now Dragonstar probably feeling like, well, I guess you need to wall 2. Doesn't really need to rush them, per se. He's going to have scouts on the way, but I'm not a big fan of the lack of eco upgrades for Dragonstar at the moment. I do think there's actually some fear in Dragonstar's mind because he was late to scouting the barracks. I believe he thinks there could be militia coming. You see how he's double checking? He's rushing down these walls because he didn't have the scout timing. If he would have had some more information, I think he would be able to determine this is just going to be eagles for the time being for Kasva. But I think Spearman, did I say eagles? Spearman into eagles is kind of the game plan here. And Dragonstar now is the question whether it's worth making that many scouts. And also, isn't worth making skirms. Because, you know, if you make skirms, it's super nice with the Lithuanians having that speed and you can then kill the spears. But then if your opponent's making eagles, it gets a little bit more questionable. This is the type of game that Kasva wanted. This is the type of game we were going to get. And this is, I think, the very first civilization pick for Kasva. He's put a lot of you know, his hope into winning on this map to tie up this series. Now, I mean, Kasva's protecting a lot here, right? Protecting all this space is huge. Obviously, there's more gold spread throughout, but what he didn't want to deal with is he didn't want the scouts to be running through his base. Now he can focus freely on focusing on his economy. So, yeah, ideally you have 3 golds back there, but that's not really how, you know, the map works. Good stuff from Dragonstar here. He did see the archer range, so there will be some army coming out from Kasva. And he knows about it, and Dragonstar's just going to run away. Meanwhile, Kasva shows up, sees the archer range then from Dragonstar, so this should now tell him that's probably skirmishers, and I need to get to gold. And the faster I'm on gold, the better it is for me, so I can make a couple eagles. But there's no real rush for either player to make a ton of army right now, honestly. It's not really that big a deal. So for a map this open, it's become quite close and quite chill here. And this will definitely go to Castle Age. And in Castle Age, I think it can be tricky for Dragonstar. Because, you know, Kasva has this whole time while he's on his way to Castle Age to produce eagles out of his barracks. Dragonstar can't do the same with knights. Obviously, Light Cav is an option. He can upgrade the scouts, but he cannot make knights on the way to the next stage. And what makes that eagle spam so strong is the preemptive numbers. The fact that you could build up those numbers while you're on your way. And this is a lot of free space for Kasva. It's gone heavy into the farms. Hasn't it actually gone to gold? It's interesting. He's making skirms. I think he's hoping to surprise his opponent here. That eagle could be picked off. Nice work from Dragonstar. Dragonstar is going to be happy with that. That's going to be our first kill of the game. Killing an eagle is more value than killing anything else that's on the field right now. And Dragonstar just going to drop his blacksmith now. His food eco looks pretty good. He sees the skirms now, and he's probably like, huh? Full trash? What? Not exactly what you would expect. But Kasva likes to make it messy. Kasva's not an optimal player. He's not. He's like a mini MBL almost. If you know MBL, and I'm sure most people do. And that's kind of why Kasva got wrecked by MBL so badly. Like, there's a couple players that are seen that are like this, where they play safe, they play behind walls, they make lots of counter units, and then they're very aggressive in Castle Age, and they're really hard to kill off. And, you know, like, MBL's probably the king at that, so anyone who's below him with the same style normally just gets outplayed with that style. Fletching on the way now for Dragonstar, and Dragonstar, he started making more skirmishers when he saw this. And Kasva just hoping for chip damage, right? He's just thinking, maybe I can poke and bother a couple villagers there, but realistically, he's probably not going to accomplish much. Behind this, Kasva's gone to gold. This is where I'd like to see Kasva slowly making eagles. Dragonstar's double-checking with the scouts. Kasva even backed away, because I think he felt like this would force something from Dragonstar that could kill him, and he's looking now. He's like, I know you have something. What's happening here? He's actually running through. Anyways, Dragonstar's going to see this army's come home now. Dragonstar could have definitely been more assertive with those skirms. He has the faster skirms, but I think he's worried that Kasva would have more eagles in the mix than he really does right now. This is where you want the second and the third barracks to go up if you're Kasva, and you start to produce those eagles. I got to be critical of him. He's not producing eagles right now. Like, this is an important moment. He will do it. I have no doubt about it, but as Kasva gets his first kill, right when I say I'm going to be critical of him, he's going to get a second kill now, and as this little trash army is actually contributing a decent amount, we aren't seeing any more eagle production from him. Dragonstar just trying to use his skirms against his opponent's spears and eagles there, and Kasva was microing that really well. Really frustrating feeling, too. When you want to open up with aggressive scouts and then you just run into walls, not a fun feeling to have. As we see triple ranges here from Dragonstar. Oh, so Dragonstar's going to go Cav Archers with Light Cav? Wow, this is very unique. This is really different. I mean, with Huns, with Mongols, with Tatars, you might see that. He definitely knows it's eagles. But, guys, it could end up surprising Kasva here, as Kasva's going 4 barracks. I think the concern for Dragonstar is, if he goes all-in knights, it'll be Pike and Monk he's up against, and he's not really sure how to deal with that. I have faith in the Cav Archer play. I remember, like, many games in the past where players would get to Cav Archers, and then somehow with those Cav Archers end up getting that mass in Castle Age against the Eagles. That's not bad for Kasva, though. To be able to kill 2 of those scouts could be out patrolling on relics later. That's really good. Kasva hits Castle Age. Kasva shows up now. Kasva is definitely expecting knights from his opponent. And it's going to be Cav Archers. Let's see how it goes here. Eagle Warriors on the way for Kasva. Now, this isn't all in from Kasva. Kasva can boom off this eventually. And Cav Archers are shown, and this is where you might be thinking about adding a Siege Workshop for Scorpions if you're Kasva. But honestly, with 4 barracks and being Aztecs, the Aztec production's so insane, I think you can just outmass. And you don't really have any long-term bonuses to get excited about with Cav Archers if you're Lithuanians. I do think they get full blacksmith upgrades. They're probably missing like Parthian tactics or something. I'm not actually sure if they get Thumb Ring, which is a really important one for Castle Age. Maybe chat could help me out there. Yeah, Cav Archer the play for Dragonstar to counter the #1 civilization here for Kasva. Kasva is going for the Siege Workshop. Also has the Monastery to start thinking about getting relics. So this scout becomes really important. May see that scout patrol over here on this relic. But I would assume at this point that Dragonstar is most likely going to just be scouting the map for the relics and not really looking for monk kills. Yeah, there was an overchop here for Kasva. He did just close that up. Wood could be a real issue for him. But could be an issue for both players. Ballistics is on the way. The Cav Archers will show up. All Kasva wants to know is, where are your Cav Archers? Usually you see an immediate pullback here. I think he's distracted by the scout. He just lost an eagle. Might have lost a little bit of HP. Scout goes down for Dragonstar. Now the monk can move out from Kasva and start to get those relics. And I feel like Kasva has been able to play the type of game that he wanted here, right? He got his walls down. He wasn't able to be punished by it because the scout approach didn't work too hot against it. And now he's got those eagles. Now he's got those scorpions. But and the CA mass is no joke. The thing is, monks don't really matter as much now. And you have 5 pierce armor max in Castle Age, and Cav Archers, they do 8 damage. So you do 3 damage a hit with the Cav Archers. Not to mention you have a lot of HP. Dragonstar really using that mobility right now. And he hasn't lost many CA yet. He's done a great job here. What an interesting call. I can guarantee you Kasva was not expecting this. Now, he's done the right thing ever since he saw it, right? He's added a bunch of Scorpions, but the Scorpions are slow. And Dragonstar's micros looked really good here. And Dragonstar only lost one Cav Archer. But still, there's 14 Eagles, though. And there's Thumbring, by the way. I see chat responding to me now. Yeah, that's all that matters here. Basically, he's hoping that he takes good engagements in Castle Age, and then he can switch into something else later. This is where you have to get worried. Just one relic for Kasva. Kasva wanting to raid. He doesn't want to react all the time. He's headed over towards that wood line. Dragonstar still microing. Can you imagine how useless Scorpions would be if they did friendly fire, by the way? Like, we just get used to them not doing friendly fire, but it's kind of funny to see all those shots pass through the Eagles. Obviously, you know, the Eagles take no damage from it, if you haven't realized that already. Pretty hype game here so far. Eagle's going to get picked off. Nice job from Dragonstar to track the raids. This is where I think if you started to make scouts and went like Cav with your Cav Archers, it could work pretty decently. Kasva, not able to keep track of things. He just wants those relics with those monks. But Dragonstar unable to keep track as well. And what is happening here from Dragonstar? Cav Archers are super weak there. He's got 24 CA, and there's 24 Eagles from Kasva. He's always going to have more Eagles. Second town center up for Kasva. Kasva's going to get relic number 3. I prefer Kasva's position right now. I think it is much harder to win from Dragonstar's current position. It is possible, though. Because once you get to 30 CA, it feels like Castle Age Eagles doesn't work anymore. It's really the Scorpions, though, that are strong. And Dragonstar, I don't know what he's doing. He's probably adding farms. He's probably adding eco. Oh, he was reacting to the raids. Kasva has split up to raid, and Dragonstar hasn't let him in, which is huge. And the CA got hit because of that, but the CA are going to back away. And that is a game-saving quick wall from Dragonstar. I didn't even see the Eagles were over there. That's ridiculous. And actually, now I love the TC position as well because it protects the gold. If it was behind the gold, it would not do so. That was disgusting. I might need to look back at that later. Because if Dragonstar wins this game, it might come down to that. He could have lost 15 villagers right there. And he could have lost his Cav Archers while reacting. Hey guys, look at these Thumbring Cav Archers go. I remember a game from 4 years ago. It was Doubt that actually started it. It was Huns versus Aztecs. Huns, of course, have really cheap Cav Archers, so it's a much better Cav Archer civilization. But once you got to 30, it really felt like Scorpions were the only things that was really offering anything. But, you know, despite that, I mean, the eco is 63 to 63. Kasva's got 3 relics. Probably is going to end up getting 4, and that's a ton of gold income for him. I love this town center spot. This town center protects the gold. I also love how he's dropped houses. Now, there is a hole here, but I don't think Dragonstar will ever realistically go in there. This TC timing, though, is just epic. I assume... Yeah, okay, I was going to say Kasva should notice that. And Dragonstar was like, he didn't garrison yet. He didn't garrison yet, so maybe I can kill some builds here. Now, to get to this many Cav Archers, you have been spending your wood on the CA. You don't have that many farms, so notice the food eco is not that ridiculous right now. And Dragonstar still needs to find good engagements here. One big mango shot on these Scorpions, and suddenly all hell breaks loose, though. Dragonstar needs to know where those Scorpions are at the moment. He's going to find out. And he's hoping this mango, which is in there, is going to find the spots. Now, I guess Kasva, you know, he wants to push the town center, so he's headed his own mangonel. It's going to go down. Oh, it doesn't go down to the Cav Archers, actually. Dang, man. This is critical mass for you guys. Critical mass to Scorpions as well, to be honest with you. But they're more vulnerable. They're slower. Impressive. I'm really happy we're seeing this level from Kasva because the first game, it was just clear to me he wasn't super comfortable there. But he picks these maps for a reason. He plays like a beast on these maps. This is awesome. He does not have vision right now on this, and he could get surprised. But he sees what's coming now. Dragonstar defends nicely. Cav archers are going to get some beautiful kills. Kasva's going to dive. I think it's ill-advised. I think it's an ill-advised dive, but he's doing it because he doesn't want his siege to be picked off, so maybe it's worth it. Actually, might end up being decent because now all of his siege can push forward. That's the reason he did that. Didn't actually lose that many eagles. Big hill, though. Big hill, important hill. Dragonstar just kills one. He needs more scorpion kills. That's decent. Split micro from Dragonstar against so much freaking siege, and he still hasn't lost much, and he backs away. Both players desperate to get the platinum. Dragonstar, again, the favorite in the series, but Kasva's all on top of him right now. Kasva's got 4 mangonels in queue. He's gone double siege workshop. This is crazy. And it's perfect, honestly, because he has enough eagles. He just needs more siege all the time. It's very rare that players will go double siege workshop in these spots. Okay, good micro there. Dragonstar, will he realize that's weak? Kasva repairing. Kasva losing eagles over here, but soon Dragonstar could lose his town center. Dragonstar's going to need a castle soon. And I think, you know, we're seeing just how difficult it is for the Cav archers to pay off if that's all you have. And Kasva's got 6 mangonels on that TC right now. That TC is going to be gone soon. And Dragonstar, if he wants to drop a castle, if anything, it's going to have to be behind this TC. But TC is going to be gone soon. And then maybe the castle has to be somewhere far more defensive than this. Kasva taking Dragonstar apart right now. And he just continues to have epic micro with the siege as well. 8 mangonels. 8. Dragonstar falling apart. And probably, like, after game 1, I'm sure he was feeling amazing. And now he's probably like, oh my goodness. Like, this is not the Kasva I wanted to play here in this series. Why not mix Cav? Well, you know, it's tricky, guys. If you have 2 to 3 knights, that's what a lot of people are probably thinking. With the eagle mass, high-level players, they're just going to get the eagles right next to it. And then you don't have many upgrades on the knights. It's a problem. I agree with you that I would have tried to mix Cav. I'm not saying it's bad. I don't feel as though 2 to 3 Cav would be enough. He probably would need 5 or 6. Then Kasva's not far away from adding a couple monks. It just is really tricky. And it's not just units. It's also, he has to add eco. There's so many different things that have to happen. So it's very difficult to forget certain aspects of the game or not be able to when you only have so much speed. Like there, the latest ran in and killed the mangonel. That's really nice use of his units. He's actually trying to counterattack with the Cav archers now because he knows all the siege is on the front. And I think this game is going bad enough for you right now if you're Dragonstar where you actually do run in. I think if the game's closer, you don't take that risk because you know Scorpions are going to be following. But oh god, if he finds this, if Dragonstar only continued this way, he would have found 17 villager kills. Kasva's kind of, you know, leaving his base with a lot of these villagers right now. So Cav is what Dragonstar's probably thinking because he's got Latis. A couple villagers going down. The eco's not pretty for Kasva. Lots of idle time. But these Cav archers need a way out or the Scorpions will kill them. There's a world where you can do a runner here if you're Dragonstar. You don't want to group up like this. He's distracted. You could distract the Scorpions. But he is super distracted because this castle's not going up. And Kasva's push just continues. Like, Kasva does not allow Dragonstar any rest at home. Which is essentially what the counterattack was hoping to do. It was give himself some space, give himself some time at home. This is insane. Now, random Latis pops in. Boom. Mangonel down. Well played. Good stuff from Dragonstar. Is he going to get another one? He gets another one. That's 2 of them. That's not too bad. Maybe he can do it again. He has no food eco. Cav archers have still killed a lot of things here. Kasva's going to buy 800 food. Cav archers, had they come this way, I think would have accomplished a lot more, but they're going to be through. They're going to save themselves. Well played. And guys, this game is about to get very interesting because Dragonstar's YOLOing forward. He's bringing 1 Latis to protect, and he is going to drop a castle there. I'm not sure Kasva will see this. Also, a Latis shows up to kill some of these mangonels, and Kasva's going to drop his own castle. But Dragonstar knows he's blocking the castle foundation. He could tell. He knows what that means. And so he's blocking the foundation. This is going to lead to so many losses for Kasva. He lost his entire siege push. Dragonstar's Cav archers still are able to get away. and Dragonstar's castle will go up. What a crazy game. This whole game has been ridiculous. And it's actually, like, really difficult for Kasva to know where to go right now. Because if he goes here, there's a castle. Remember, Bodcanero's been in, Ballistic, so you can't be anywhere near Castle Fire. There's still Cav Archers roaming around. And Dragonstar's gonna, you know, if he stops here, find a feast of kills. And, you know, you kind of committed towards Eagles. And Latest from the Lithuanians, they're really good against Eagles. So I thought the Cav Archers would be done, and then he'd try and switch to Cav. No, the Cav Archers have found excellent value this game. 40 kills. And Kasva, he did end up making a castle here. I don't know if you guys saw that. But Kasva might actually be... I mean, I think he is behind right now. That said, he's making petards here, and he could take care of this castle shortly. There's also rams coming out somewhere as well. I can't quite tell you. It's probably one of the siege workshops. Yeah. You know, in the event this castle gets petarded down, extremely problematic for Dragonstar in this area if he doesn't have the army. Great job from Dragonstar. Boom. Right back to the castle. Here he has to garrison his TCs, and he's got to bring some units over here to defend from this. Wow. This castle, like, everything Dragonstar did was awesome. The counterattack and then this castle both needed to happen. If you do one and not the other, I think you have big problems here. Remember, with the relics being on this map, Latest, they ignore armor, and then you get the +1 attack per relic collected, and he's got 2 of them. But that extra 2 attack when your eco's been kind of fragile this game is so helpful. A while ago, it was 50 Eagles for Kasva, and Kasva's just down to 20 now. I mean, he's going to find some villagers there. That's a really nice find for him, and he's still up at 100. But, yeah, scores flip-flopping back and forth. Population's dead even right now, and we have ourselves a pretty ridiculous game. And it's not over, because Kasva has a defensive castle here, so he can't be raided. He ended up taking out Dragonstar's castle here, so he's now protected. He sees the Latest coming in, converts one with his monk, and then kills the rest with the Scorpions. Shout out to the Scorpions. You thought the Scorpions were still going to be useless, guys. Idle time's ridiculous for both. We just see TCs everywhere for Dragonstar, though. He's going to have 6 TCs in the north. 7 TCs in the north. What? I'd almost like to see hill forts at that point. Get extra range on your town centers. I mean, what's kind of... Another TC! Excuse me? Well, what's interesting is now the Lithuanians get +100 food when they build a TC. So I think is actually to help with your reboom. If you floating a lot of stone and wood, I think it's actually kind of helpful to just plop up a couple TCs. And if you could add farms throughout it as well, it could be really good. Cav Archer number, it's going to just go down from here. We won't see Dragonstar make any more Cav Archers, most likely. And Dragonstar's sticking fully to Latest. And these CA, they will be found out. He didn't know about this castle till now, Dragonstar. I think Kasva's kind of shook right now. The fact they never checked this gold is pretty telling. But he wants to go Imp, and Dragonstar wants to do the same. And I would say a full switch to Pikeman with your monks would be the play here for Kasva. And you can't really see the Scorpions because of the ruins there. But all those Scorpions go down. And wow, we have both players imping and both players that are 115 villagers right now. You really need defensive castles over here if you're Dragonstar, though, because Eagle raids could be the death of you otherwise. This castle also from Kasva, it might not look like it protects much, but it makes it really awkward for Dragonstar to pass to the right areas. And when you have so many TCs spread out throughout the map, it's so easy to just not look at one area, and that's what happened there. Late reaction from Dragonstar. Granted, he was doing other things. Just always going to be Scorpions around for Kasva, apparently. What a game. Also, Arson is in, so this TC could be taken out. There's not enough arrow fire from that. Couple Vil picks here. Late is still around over here. Castle from Dragonstar. And for the first time in this game, he's getting armor. Both players should be doing eco upgrade checks, just, you know, making sure they have the eco upgrades that they need. What was it, 10 or 11 relics on the map? And it looks like 10 of those relics have been collected. This is an awesome game. Best game on Graveyard so far in TTL. And there's been some epic ones. And Castle will go up. So, all right. So I think for Dragonstar, your best unit is obviously the latest, but I think you're going to need hand cannons. And I'm wondering if he's going to have the golden come for that. There's gold and stone spread out everywhere. So like here, this gold seems crucial. This golden stone they're going to fight over. Kasva's got golden stone all around. That will not be a concern. And then with 6 relics with the Aztecs, that's brought in thousands already, I'm sure. 4K gold from relics. Granted, he's had relics for longer. But the beauty of the latest is you can kind of pick your spots. You can switch around, right? And do things like this, pick it off, then run away. But the death ball play from Kasva could be tricky. So Kasva needs to build up trebs with all of his pikes in one spot and just snowball it. Kind of similar to what he was doing before. And what'll make it fun is Dragonstar's way out of that is to do what he had done before, and it's to try and hit different areas and raid the sides. To use that mobility. But yeah, I really do think he's going to need some way to counter the pikes. I know you ignore armor, dude, but that's a lot of bonus damage plus the +4 attack from these pikemen. As Garland Wars was the first thing researched in Imp for Kasva. These are some extra pointy boys now. So he's up to 7+6 attack on the Eagles, and then 4+6 attack on those pikes. Amazing game from these two. And it has to be, like, this is a must-win for Kasva. Kasva would have to win 3 straight to win this series and get promoted to Platinum otherwise. This is as advertised from Kasva. He's just so good at the late game. He's so good at staying alive. Like I said, this castle could be so valuable. It actually has 0 kills because of no ballistics. Chemistry, skirm upgrades coming in for Dragonstar. But for now, trying to use that mobility. Clearly focused on adding some buildings and whatever else at the moment. I think he's scared of what's to come here. Building outposts now to know about it. Latest numbers really low, though. Vil count's good. Eco upgrades are good. The eco upgrades are now ahead of Kasva. And now Kasva's starting to make the trebs. He's also getting lots of monk upgrades. He's actually massing a ridiculous amount of monks here. He's got 8 monks with 6 in queue. But remember, you know about this castle. So this is, I think, the perfect play here from Kasva. This is so good. Build the castle, build up your trebs. Treb push from this area. All right, there you are. Elite latest, strong unit. But that's a unit that Kasva would love to switch over to his side, and that's why the monks are here. This is where you need the range, but chemistry always takes time. It's just now completed. Skirms are always iffy when there's elite eagles out as well. It feels like the Aztecs can always do anything. They can convert your cav. They could use eagles to raid you, or eagles against your skirms. And they can use pikes against your latest if the cav's not converted. And so for that reason, I prefer Kasva's position. Kasva has 7 relics. Kasva's gonna stonewall the map. What a smart play. Look at this wall. I mean, if it goes up, it's sick. Really, the only thing Kasva's missing right now is just freaking trebs. That's it. Is these 2 castles, this castle just making the trebs and pushing. That's the only thing he's missing. He has the army. He just needs to be, you know, hitting Dragonstar in the mouth with it. This is a really nice castle here from Dragonstar. Just to keep Kasva open and distracted. All right, now I say don't trickle treb a lot during Lowy the Legends, but I don't say it that much during the pros scene these days. I feel like 2 years ago, players would trickle more. This is a trickle. You leave 1 treb out there, that's an easy pick-off for Dragonstar. That is not something that you should allow to happen here if you're Kasva. And Kasva wasn't paying attention to his monks, and the latest go in, and your only armor is the armor of God, and I guess there's no armor to ignore there, but... Anyways, Kasva knows... Wow, those were some fast conversions. Are you kidding me? Kasva knows he needs to pay attention to this now. I imagine he was very distracted over here, and he now needs to account for the latest raids by leaving army over here, but his monks are ready. And now Dragonstar's not prepared, and now there's going to be like 6 or 7 latest on Kasva's side. This has given Dragonstar time, however, to mass gunpowder. And it's the gunpowder there's no true counter to right now from Kasva. Kasva would need to go for skirms, and Aztecs have great skirmishers. So it's certainly an option. I suppose you could also use monks to just convert some of the hand cannons. Kasva doing that right now, and he's got the trebs. Let's see. Dragonstar repairing here. And still there's Latis out, and those Latis could go for all of those trebs. Now Dragonstar's also raiding here. Dragonstar choosing to go in for those monks with the skirms. And still happy to repair that castle. I'm surprised. I feel like I would have used those Latis for all those trebs. He's going to try it now, but he's obviously doing a million different things. And because of how messy it is, because of how in-your-face this push is from Kasva, Dragonstar's unable to get the timing right. And the castle does fall. Now, I mean, just treb down all the TCs. Just bam, 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 bam. Take the TCs as well. Why don't you? Latis are currently attacking a farm. That is not Dragonstar's fault. You patrol into farms in 2023 with Age of Empires 2 DE. Why can we patrol into farms, devs? I don't get it. He just patrolled on attack stance, and he was just attacking farms, and now it gave time for Kasva to react. Great reaction time. More Latis going to break through. And then, you know, Latis still kind of running through there. So, you know what I want to check is how many kills has Dragonstar gotten from buildings? Like, I think he's got a lot. His TCs, his castles, but he's going to start losing this castle. What a great decision here from Kasva. He took the castle on the left. Dragonstar had to brace himself in this area for the push because it could have continued, and he's just shifting focus because this has been an issue. And so now he's taken out that castle. Still needs to push across the map. There's a monk there, by the way. I'm wondering if Kasva... It's Aztec, so he'll probably get a conversion there. Nope. Nope. What about this guy? He's not paying attention. He gets that one. And Dragonstar knows about it. Great job from Dragonstar to pay attention to that, though. That's insane. Look at this army, dude. Look at this army. It looks like an AI army right now. All these monks and pikes moving together. We've got elite Latis. We've got hand cannons. We've got monks. Kasva, you might be going a little too heavy on the monks, though, my friend. He's going to be up to 20 monks soon. I don't know if he's really a player that can control that many monks. For me, if I get above, like, 6, then suddenly I don't feel all that strong. He does have hill control. He's got 3 castles here. He's also got full stone walls, so all this eco should be safe. Unless he chops through the wood line, which is more and more a possibility. He's walling this. He's got the hill. He can shift focus over to Dragonstar here, and Dragonstar needs to find an answer to this. He's scared of those monks, and Dragonstar sinks 1k gold into heresy. So his units now, if they get converted, they simply choose to die. All right, well, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting. Heresy will obviously pay off. Had he not had Heresy, I think this could have been a bit riskier for Dragonstar to take the fight. Will Heresy swing the fight? You know, the pikemen are kind of out of position, which means the eagles and the monks are very exposed. Oh my goodness. Dragonstar is probably thinking, this could be it for me. This could be it. I could do it. But then there's so many pikemen. But he takes the fight anyways. I mean, you ignore the armor. You've got gunpowder and you've got pikes mixed in. It's costly for you to toss away Latis, but he wins the fight and he defends. And now Kasva doesn't have army here. And Kasva's trebs, Kasva's monks, everything is so exposed. And I think you just still want to kill the monks anyways. I know you're going to lose some units here. They're going to get converted and die, but that is a lot of gold down the drain for Kasva, as Kasva desperate for the hill control. He's still going to have castles everywhere. This is going to be one of the best games in Titans League. The Kasva loses a lot, but Kasva's got castles, and Kasva has 7 relics bringing him gold. Like, there's no castle here to defend Dragonstar. There's this castle, and then there's this castle. Whereas Dragonstar's got castle, 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 or Kasva has castle, 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 wood, space to farm, walls. I mean, at what point? I mean, Dragonstar's now out of gold? Yeah, I mean, if Dragonstar's out of gold, I think Kasva is in the better late game position, guys. He's got more map walled off, and he has those castles. And so that means that any gold unit you have needs to be extremely productive. And that's productive there for the latest. Ooh, and this is nice. There's actually gold over here, and Kasva sees he's been spotted. Okay, so we're going to see a whole bunch of red army come over here because Kasva does not want Dragonstar to have that stone and gold. And a Dragonstar's building trebs to push somewhere, and I think he's going to aim to push this area. But now he doesn't have army here, and Kasva's ready again. And now this ranged army that shifted over here to fight with his own trebuchets, they now need to pull back. And you're just going to get picked apart. If you don't have castle spots, you will get picked apart. Not to mention, you can't make latest anymore. We actually have Cavalier research right now for Dragonstar. I wonder if he's trying to get Winged Hussar and he misclicked. Or if he wants to go Cavalier because he knows latest won't be an option anymore with no castles. Jaguar Warriors. Satisfying to see. Great awareness from Kasva. This is an amazing game. We got to see some really cool units in this game. Some different strategies the whole way through. I mean, I think you have to, like, say that both players came back at times, right? Like, felt like Dragonstar maybe had a lead. Never considerable, but then Kasva definitely had a lead. Then Dragonstar brought it back. And it looked like Kasva was going to fall apart, and then Kasva was able to collect himself. And this is where Kasva needs to get eagles into corners. Eagles here, that's not going to be all that valuable. Eagles into corners is going to be valuable, as we've got some Cavalier, which seems like that was intentional from Dragonstar, and Lycav here to take this out. And the Trebs are here to take this castle out. That castle will fall for Kasva. So both players have lost the castle. Again, Eagles in this corner completely wrecks Dragonstar, but he's still okay. The castle falls for Kasva. And now Kasva's thinking, what more can I do? And he's getting a ladle. And then he's getting leather archer armor. So knowing it's going to be a full trash game. And then we also have tower shields for Dragonstar. So both players getting techs that affect their skirms at the same time. Sick. Oh man, you got to defend this trap. Oh man, if Kasva kills that trap. Oh, that's such a costly loss. And Kasva's going to get the next one too. +8 attack. Boink. Sick find. Villagers, be very careful which tree you chop, okay? Because those Cav are waiting for you. Oh my word. Speaking of Cav, light Cav coming in. Aztecs won't have Cav to raid, which could be an issue in the long run. And these trebs could also go down. The monks hop out onto the other side, though. It's nifty move. Dragonstar, don't even go for the monks. Kasva will just go right back in that castle. Is there a world where Kasva opens the gate and Dragonstar runs in here? You see that? Like, there's actually opportunities there. The Eagles get clicked over here. I did see there were some red units that went this way at one point from Kasva, but it must not have been much. It might have been these Eagles that have now gone here. And, well, Cavalier going for Kasva's trebs. Kasva realizing this. But he's got the castles to fall back to. This castle here is 21 kills. It's so hard to break someone if you don't have defensive castles, and Dragonstar just knows. I won't be able to win this game because I will eventually just be picked apart and raided to death. And honestly, the Eagles found a really good spot, and he just didn't have the army count himself anymore. Eagles would have killed these villagers quickly with that +9, +8 attack. And Eagles were also running in over here from Kasva. I mean, look at this. Eagles here, here, and here. And then, of course, the main push in the middle, he was able to stop. There was no potential for push anymore from Dragonstar. He didn't have the relic count that Kasva had. A beautiful, a ridiculous, I'd say, Graveyards game. And that was just so well played from both players. I think, like, back to what I said in Dark Age, it's not pretty what Kasva did, just the full wall thing. But he didn't want scout mobility to be possible. And then, like, it's like Aztecs can do no wrong. If you go Light Cav and Knights combined, then Kasva with the 4 barracks just switches pikes. So, and of course, there's still monks out there, and Aztec monks can be really strong and maybe convert some of those knights. So, that's why Dragonstar went Cav Archers. And I think people can see why Dragonstar went Cav Archers, but obviously he lost a lot of grounds in order to, he lost a lot of ground because of that. I would argue that he did pretty well with them, and I think Kasva just played really, really strong the whole way through. Kasva's recovery after he got castle dropped was sick. And remember, he lost like 5 mangonels. He lost like tons of eagles in this game. That was beautiful. Dragonstar, more wood, more food collected. For Kasva, it was the gold. He brought in 10,000 gold. 10,000 gold from relics. Someone says latest was such a huge mistake. No. Let's reword it for a second, okay? I don't think either player made a huge mistake in this game. Can we at least say that they both played incredible? And anything that didn't work for them was because the opponent was ready. We had fortified wall in this game. We had tons of monks in this game. We had skirms. We had TC rebooms. We had castle drops. I actually think latest made a lot of sense. He had more castles than stables at the time the castles went up. I think both players played incredible. I think the difference was actually Kasva's map control and maybe a little bit of forward thinking there with his walls. Obviously, if this hits the main YouTube channel, the full best of 5 will be in the description. It's going to be on the extras channel. This is to get into Platinum League and get promoted this series. So I'm sure the rest of the games are going to be good as well. Check that out if you want to see the rest of the maps. That was just peak graveyards, and that was an incredible game. I love it. I love graveyards because there's so much stone and gold, and there's so much reason to expand. They both had ridiculous vision this game. Look at the vision from Kasva, and then look at the scouting and vision from Dragonstar. How frequently do you see a game where both players are 95% scouting, and they've been basically everywhere? It's not that common.